Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So, yeah, it's interesting in the world of Jilly Juice. I do deal with so many different types of people, like so many. And some, there's very intense, short relationship, and sometimes relationships are drawn out and then they end, and then sometimes they stay. Okay. And I have a team that I absolutely love, and they are loyal and they understand where I'm coming from, and I'm loyal to them. And we're doing the J Juice, and we're at different levels of healing and different lifestyles. And so, that is the nature of my team. I am the longest person on the J Juice with the most results. Okay. And I'm not afraid to put out my results. I'm not afraid to, obviously, when I first did all my videos, you saw how I was in the beginning with all my videos, where they were so long and drawn out and rambling and maybe not totally make sense. But some people could finally pick out some of the gems out of like the long drawn out rambling stuff. And then as I've done my videos, they've become they're shorter, relatively shorter, more succinct, and more on point. Okay. And so you're seeing my own progression. So I am probably the best example of the J Juice. Now, of course, I have my critics, and that's fine. They're always going to be critics, and I'm okay with that. But those that have followed me for a while have seen the difference in my body, mind, and spirit. Okay. So I am the best example. My team is going through their own healing process. And so, they're not going to be at my level because they have lives, they have different things that are going on. Not many people on my team are going to be going out on Facebook Live or doing the before and after. Some will put filters on their photos and some won't. Some are going to be overweight and some are not. I mean, come on, it's just part of the healing process. But at least they're part of the J Juice world, and they're doing it at their own level. And at least they are doing their protocol. Now, I'm not there every single day. I don't know what they do in their world, and I really don't care. They're helping you guys out. They're following the protocol, at least, as far as making sure that you guys are on point. And that's all I care about. What they do in their world, it's not up to me to go and dictate. I mean, I'm not going to tell them they need to heal faster. They need to do this. No, I'm not that much of a micromanager. No. I exemplify the J Juice protocol. I'm on the J Juice protocol like intensely in the beginning, and then I'm here on Facebook Live telling you about my healing experiences and everything. So I am the only one that you need to see if the J Juice is legit. Not my team. My team is my team. They're going through their own healing process, but I am the one that you're going to have to figure out if J Juice is for you. Okay. And so J Juice has been validated. Okay. So the reason why I'm talking about this, because I get so many different people that do private message me that are so excited about their protocols and the things that they think they discovered through either the Body Electric Summit or Dr. Klinghardt or Dr. this guy or Dr. that guy, and they want me to go and hang out with them and collaborate and study them. And I'm telling you, I get so many people want to pull me into their gurus. Okay. And I'm like, okay. And they're so excited, like, oh yeah, this seminar, this Body Electric seminar is so amazing, and it validates everything you have to say, Jillian. And you need to have Kevin write stuff about the meridians and chakras and meditation and yoga. And I'm just like, oh my God. And I have people that are like that. They are totally just trying to influence me, and they will send me long emails, long private messages, totally verbose on all of the comments in the group. They come off like they're really understanding J Juice, and then they do 180 on me in the next moment. And it boggles the mind, the shit that I got to deal with sometimes. It boggles the mind. So now that's why I don't do the whole private messages back and forth, because I have people sending me stuff that I already know about, Or they're saying, oh yeah, look at this new invention, all these new things, and they're using, they're using phototherapy and photodynamics and photon torpedoes for this and that, and they're like all this newfangled new wave stuff. And I'm like, do you not understand the JJUICE protocol? When you are dealing with like the Body Electric Summit, and I'm going to put their name out there because this is what this person is trying to promote to me. They're doing Ayurvedic type of stuff, yoga, meditation, herbs, using, they're saying things about bioelectricity, biophotons. You're going to see people use these words. It's not anything new. Okay, you're going to see everything that I talk about validated in other worlds and other contexts, but have a different outcome. Okay, and then the people that are actually putting out the specific information, they have a specific outcome, and you can look at them. You can just see exactly what the intent is. It's still managing symptoms, but they're using electricity and they're talking about buzzwords, bioelectricity, biophotons, biochemistry. No different than what I say, but I have a very different way of putting information together and a very different protocol with a different outcome, and it can stand alone. I don't need to collaborate with the Body Electric Summit. And you guys can Google them and see what they're all about. But JILLY does not need Body Electric Summit. JILLY does not need the newfangled approaches of Ayurveda and herbs and yoga and meditation and chakras and meridians. The JILLY is not about that, okay? The JILLY is about, hey, you drink a drink that has lactic acid, it has micro and macronutrition, it has water, and it has electrolytes. And you feel the pain and you manage the pain however you want to manage it. Kevin's going to talk about his biohacks, and then if that doesn't work and you want more of an aggressive pain reliever because you have to go and give a presentation, then go see your doctor. Okay? That's the extent of the remedies, of the biohacks, of the symptom management program. That's the extent of it. The whole point of JILLY is not to relieve the pain. And if you're going to bring up pain, is your device prepared to deal with that onslaught? And when you deal with these alternative, holistic, electricity to herbs, to meditation, to yoga, is your body able to handle that? And when you turn to those things, it actually does destroy the body more because the device isn't prepared for that. Okay? And herbs are not a way to prepare your body for pain. If anything, herbs are just compounding the imbalances of your minerals, because herbs, when you break them down, they're minerals. Wine, when you break it down, it is yeast and it is sugar, and it has acid in it. And it is such a major acid type of drink that it will cause more acid imbalances in the body. So that's why I don't drink alcohol, because I'm not about drinking acid all the time or turning to acid, because that's what alcohol is. It's fermented sugar. Okay? So there is a method to the JILLY madness. So I get these young little peoples that are just like, oh my God, this is like, you know, I don't know, the coming of the next whatever, and you have to go and do this. And then they'll send me private message like, I know you don't want private message, and I know that you don't want me to advertise this in the group, so I'm going to do private message. And why did you let Kevin, you know, advertise the Infinite Man Summit? Because guess what? The Infinite Man Summit actually brought me into their world, into Portugal. And I talked about the JILLY to them. So that's why I allowed them to advertise. That's why I advertised them myself in my group, because the guy flew me out there, Sasha Dagame, paid for my ticket. And then I was able to stay for a week or 4 or 5 days for free. And I paid for my food over there in Portugal. Okay? So no, I'm not going to allow people to bring in their protocols, whether it's Body Electric, whether it's some other Ayurvedic type of protocol, and advertise that in my group. Hell no. I don't collaborate. But if somebody actually allows me to go on their platform and talk about the JILLY, I'm all willing to advertise them, to bring them business and bring them people, because they have a certain aspect where they understand JILLY, and and they get JJ's, but they may not be doing it. They're not going to be putting me on their platform every single time because they have another way of going about doing stuff, and that's okay. But it's going to be a while, if not ever, that any of these alternative therapy doctors and alternative therapists are going to actually have me on their stage working with them side by side, because everything that I do with J-Juice will negate their whole protocol because it's unnecessary. Okay? Herbs are unnecessary as far as dealing and healing the body. Photoelectric therapy is unnecessary as far as with the J-Juice world, because all you got to do is go outside. If you want to get phototherapy, go outside, drink the J-Juice, allow your hormones do what it needs to do, deal with the pain, heal the body, and that's it. That's all you need. So the J-Juice can stand alone. It doesn't need any of those therapies. But the reason why people bring in therapies is because it's pain management. Therapy, the only thing about therapy is pain management. Chemotherapy is dealing with trying to stop the cancer programming in the body. Immunotherapy is trying to modify your immune system so you don't feel pain, or you're taking somebody's viruses or cancer viruses and injecting them so it creates antibodies to go after the cancer viruses. But then you see imbalances and you haven't got to the root cause. So all you're doing is just getting a stay of execution. There is no long-term, really long-term, planning really as far as longevity when it comes to any therapy. And that's why I really went hard on the therapists out there, because I have a lot of therapists or people that are subscribing to different therapies, trying to figure out how they can position J-Juice and fit it in their world. And I know it and I see it and I don't appreciate it, and I'm calling them on it. Okay, so that's why the last couple of days I've been, I would say, triggered, because it's me. I have to control the narrative because too many people want to parasite off my info. But the difference is they don't have that, that outlook of indefinite life. And they don't see the specific measurable results. When they're adopting like some kind of Ayurvedic type of protocol or some electric protocol where they're using Rife machines and all these different machines to kill cancer viruses and kill all these different bad things, that the people that are actually promoting it are aging and degrading. But I can bet you the person saying, oh yeah, they're gonna, it doesn't matter. Well, this is what she said. She's like, it doesn't matter what food structure, but if you're not open to new information, then that's gonna cause you cancer anyways. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? And it's like, the only way you can be legit is if you adopt my information, you collaborate me. I mean, I'm telling you, I get extorted, but I get blackmailed into saying, okay, if I don't endorse this protocol and collaborate with them, then you're not legit, Jillian. And then I'm like, and then they go and they attack my team and say, oh yeah, they do this, they do that, they're not this and they're not that. And then I'm like, see you later, bye. You just wrote your own exit papers. I'm never dealing with you again. Spam, spam, spam on the email, and don't ever contact my team or me ever again. And that's sometimes how it has to happen. And that's how, I want my team and you guys to learn how to just cut stuff off. Don't entertain stuff that is not good for you. And especially when you have a trigger or a red flag in your gut, something is not right. You may not know exactly how to articulate it, but there's something going on in the background and you have to stop, and you cannot ignore those red flags. And if you happen, and here's the thing with red flags and triggers and people acting out, when you see someone that highly triggered, they got a lot going on, okay? A lot going on. And their body is dealing with trauma, okay? And they don't have their defenses really figured out. They haven't set boundaries in their world. And then they have things in their brain that are going on that's not completely correct or really off. And so it's like the body, when you eat something and you're having an imbalance, the body creates mucus. That's the same thing as triggers. Mucus and triggers are actually kind of relatively the same, because mucus lets you know when there's an imbalance going on and it's trying to expel. Well, the same thing with triggers. When there's something, extraordinarily like off in their world, because maybe not off in your world, but they have a very limited way of managing and processing information. So when someone gets triggered, highly triggered all the time, they have a very limited way of processing information, and it's not very advanced. And then the only way that they can't articulate and process it in the right way, in a healthy way. So what do? They emote, they trigger, right? And so you see people that are like that, and you know they're unhealthy, and so you stay away from them. Well, the same thing when you eat a bunch of food and you have already imbalances in your fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals, and you get like mucus, it's the body saying that, hey, you got some stuff going on, that you have imbalances, and that food is just compounding the issue, and it needs to be released. And that's the same thing. Eventually, when you're on the J juice, you won't have as much mucus because your body now finally can process that information, and it doesn't need to bring up mucus to say, hey, there's something going on. Sometimes, when I do eat food, there's mucus because there's stuff going on that it's too much of that specific hormone or that specific mineral. Doesn't mean that it's poisonous. It just means that the body has enough of it and it's at capacity, and all they're doing is trying to release it. Okay. So the same thing with triggers. So when I get triggered, it's being somebody is entering, I allow someone entering into my sphere of influence. Okay. Because I'm trying to be, I would say, patient with people. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. And sometimes, I've let people in where I've blocked them before, where, I transitioned from, let's say, from the 60,000 person group to the website, and then from the website to then my Facebook group. And when people are like, hey, I was part of the website, and I don't know, people change. I give them the benefit of the doubt that they may change during this protocol. So I'll unblock them. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and then bam, they're right there at it again. And I'm like, and I look back on the emails and when I said I was going to unblock them and who they were, and they already had somewhat of an issue. My team already alerted me that this person has some kind of an issue, and already had a sixth sense, but I overrode that because I want to give them a chance. Because everybody deserves a chance. People mess up all the time, and then they say, okay, I'm so sorry, and I'll chill out, and then great, fine, I let them back in, who cares? And then they do it again. And I'm like, Jesus. So, that's the world that I deal with is that. Okay. And so, yeah, the good old J juice protocol and different people. And, so anyway, so, the why I've been a little bit triggered, because I have a lot of people that come into my life and they have crossed boundaries. And so I have to now, and here's the thing, when I do get triggers, because it's a new situation, not so much a new situation, but a new revelation about the situation, to really understand why it is that I don't want people sending me links. I don't want them trying to influence me into any of their protocols, why it is that I come down on the therapies out there, because there is, CBD oil is not needed, but people do it. It's not healing really. It's just a state of execution. Okay. Any therapy, whether it's herbal therapy, chemotherapy, physical therapy, any therapy, psychotherapy, psychiatry, any therapy out there is just a stay of execution. It's not meant to really heal you. It's meant to manage your symptoms. That's it. Okay. Good morning, Kathy. So when somebody is so excited that they found some seminar or they found information on the internet that sounds remotely like it's validating Jillian, they want to send me the links and say, read this guy or read this dude, read this. And then people want me to collaborate and want me to go and hang out. And believe me, they're not going to be putting the J juice on their platform. They may say, okay, yeah, come on in like any other follower, pay us some money to do some kind of manipulation to the body with electricity or with something else. But believe me, when you actually look at the J juice, I just saw a ghost spirit. I don't know. I'm going to have to look at this video because I just saw a beam of light or something just pass right through. But anytime they're not going to take me into their world, because as soon as they do the J juice protocol and they feel the pain and they see that they've healed without these therapies, they are not going to have me in 1 foot of their people. They're going to close me out or shut me out, and then they're going to justify why. Oh no, she's too triggered. Oh no, she's too this. Oh no, she's too that. And that's why I don't waste my time. Every single therapy out there is not needed with the J juice world. All it does, it just gives you a stay of execution. That's it. And if anything, it actually damages the people more. And these therapists and these people that follow these therapists don't want to hear that, because it does take the wind out of their sails and it exposes the industry. Okay? Holistic industry is no different than the allopathic industry. They're one of the same, and I've been saying that for freaking years. They're not different. Any type of therapy that you do is a stay of execution, and it potentially, well, not even potentially, it does harm the person more, though it doesn't seem that way in the beginning. And that's why everything has to be FDA approved and gone through all these different quality assurance, because they don't want people dying from these therapies. So they figure out, okay, well, it has to be FDA approved. It means it's gone through the proper checks and balances to make sure that it can be handled on, you know, the majority of the population, though there's always exceptions to every rule. And that's why they have slush funds, because they know there's probably a certain percentage that will be able to handle these therapies or these prescription drugs or these herbs, and that's, or these vaccines. And that's why there are slush funds for those, because they know there's going to be lawsuits, because, oh God, you know, I mean, they tell you the side effects. Some people will get lupus, fibromyalgia, autoimmune disorders, and liver shutdowns and all this stuff from these different therapies and prescription drugs. Not everybody, but some people do. So they have to disclose to the lowest common denominator, though there's a certain segment of the population that's able to handle it for a short amount of time until the bodies adapt to these drugs and therapies, and then the pain returns, and then they have to go and recall that therapy, recall that drug, and say now it's causing cancer, disease, and chronic illness in more of the people than before. And then they go on and find another cure, another drug, another therapy. And that's how this industry works, because the body is always going to adapt to the therapies out there. The body will. Or people just take these therapies until they pass away. Okay? That's why no therapist out there is going to really touch J-Juice and bring me into their fold. That's why no energy healer is going to bring me into their fold, especially if they're aging. Because really, when you think about it, when you're doing all these different therapies, whether it's energy healing, chakra healing, psychotherapy, whatever, it's just temporary, and the person is still aging. They got gray hair. They're balding. They're wearing glasses, and they've been doing this for 20, 30 years. Well, wouldn't you think after 20, 30 years of your therapy that's supposed to be healing, wouldn't you think that the outcome is reversing the aging process? Because that's what healing is, supposedly, right? Well, no, that's not the intention of these therapies, is to reverse the aging process. The intention of these therapies is to give you a stay of execution to where your exit in life is just so much more smoother. But really, you know, when death is chaos. Death is painful. The dying process is painful. And it's like just watching somebody get dismantled systematically in a progressive form. Every year you're seeing more white hair. Every year you're seeing the person get skinnier and the face become more sallow. Every year you're seeing more things shut down. Okay, you're seeing now your vision get all altered. You're seeing your hearing get altered. Your taste buds are all messed up. You know, I mean, that's the aging process in our society, and it's not fun. And then there was about these diets, you know, oh yeah, you got to do this biblical diet, you got to do this keto diet, the paleo diet, this diet, that diet, whatever. And then people diet themselves to death out of existence. Okay? So, you know, so I deal with people who say, oh, I love your information, Jilly, and please get Kevin to write about this, and please get Kevin to write about that. And I'm like, stay away from my people. Do not mess with my people. Okay? And they're like, well, if you're not interested, then Kevin will be interested in this. And I'm like, Kevin already does the research out there. He knows about body electric. He knows about Ayurvedic stuff. He knows about biophotons and Rife machines or Riff machines. He knows about meridians and chakras and all this other stuff. He's from that world. He doesn't need you to influence him. He will take the biohacks that he knows and position them in conjunction with J-Juice. And if the person wants more of a pain reliever, then we say, go get a pharmaceutical grade drug. And that's the extent of it. But no, you're not going to be influencing my people to rise up about what you think you discovered because you think you found God. And that's what I deal with, is those types that found something in the alternative industry, and now they want to ram it down my throat and ram it down my team's throat. And then I get pissed. Because you've overstepped your boundaries. And this person has been around since like, 2 years ago, and she just started doing the protocol, and she just got off her supplements. You've been around this information for 2 years. I say we don't do supplements. We don't do alternative, whatever. We don't do detoxes. Just do the J juice. Stay on the diet. Report on your healing symptoms. Oh, but no, they want to go and bike a lot and do all this exercise and show that they're taking the J juice with them. And so, you think that they have some kind of like understanding, but then they do a 180. And that's what I deal with, is I get fooled a lot. Thank you, Kevin. I know you know. Okay, but I get fooled a lot because I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. I know Kevin does too. And Kevin's probably more patient than I am. But then when I had enough of it, yeah, because, I don't always, until I get the evidence of someone's intentions, I'll have a red flag and I'll focus more on them in the group because I kind of know something going on with them, but I just don't really know until they give me the evidence. And as soon as I get the evidence, then it's right there, it's confirmed. And then I'd be like, okay, now my triggers are justified. Because sometimes I wonder, am I really overreacting? But then no, because I know what I'm trying to do with this protocol. And I know the type of people are out there, especially if they're in the therapy world. There are ulterior motives out there. There are, and people can't help it. It's unconscious. Okay? But like with the J juice and my world, when I feel there's poop in my system, it comes out. My system is so sensitive to any excess poop, any excess anything. My system is sensitive to somebody's ulterior motives. Maybe back like 3 or 4, 5, 6 a year ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to read the intentions and would have been I did get pulled into a few people's malintention, though they weren't really, really trying to be mean, but they're trying to pull me into some other alternative therapy and collaborate with them, but they don't really collaborate with Jillian, but they want me to promote them as if Jillian legitimized their therapy. And that's one of the things I dealt with, is somebody trying to use me to legitimize their therapy. And so now that my system is that more efficient, I can sense those type of people from a mile away. And that's why I react quicker. And I stop it before it becomes out of hand. And then the person doesn't like it. And then they say, oh, you're not legit and your team is not healthy and you're not this. And then they go to the personal. And I'm like, yeah, I already read the room way early on. That's why I called you out. And they're like, holy shit. Yes, you're right, Gray Wiggins. Religious dogmas are never rational. No, you're absolutely right. I went through that process. Okay. And even political dogmas too. So it's not even just religious, it's politics. Okay. It's the different GMOs and organics and all the different stuff that's in the health and wellness industry. That's just as dogmatic as religion too, especially when they have biblical diets. Okay. But it is what it is. That's how they do things. Not for me to say. If the outcome is the same, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're living indefinitely and you take on J juice and it fits within your biblical diet and you're not promoting, only doing this, but you're doing the J juice, but you're promoting a biblical diet, but then you're living indefinitely, but your friends aren't, that to me is a little hypocritical. So, that is, where, yeah, things can be irrational, is when people keep the J juice to themselves, but they're promoting something completely different out there. And that's why I don't collaborate with people, because they're not going to promote J juice because of the backlash. That's why I don't collaborate, because it's a very lopsided relationship, very one-sided. And I recognize that with one other person that I brought into the fold for a longer period of time. And then another person who had the same characteristics tried to bring me into their fold, pull me in with their love, love, love. And then, hey, let's do this body electric stuff. Let's do this whatever stuff. Read this information, put it in the book. And I'm like, no. And they're just like, what the fuck? Yeah, what the fuck is right? I've dealt with too many people, too many personalities, and not everybody knows half the crap that I deal with through email and private message and through comments that I go and field all the time to make sure I keep the narrative under control. But yes, a few parasites get in and I'm just pew, 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 pew. And that's what the J Juice world's about, is knowing how to get the pests away, because they will try to infiltrate. And it ain't going to happen, not with me. And it ain't going to happen to my friend Kevin. It's not going to happen to my friend Bridget or Lillian. Okay? They're not going to be the hard-ass person I am, because it's not their, I mean, they could be if they want to be, and it would be justified. But they're not, that's not their place. They don't want to be that way. Let me be the bad guy. I will be the bad guy. Okay? And I don't mind being the bad guy. I already am the bad guy out there anyway, so I don't mind living into that, into that reputation. But there's a reason behind everything that I do, always, and a very good reason. Because J Juice, I'll tell you what, J Juice, I mean, it is the end all be all, but not everyone's going to know this until they have to understand this. Pow. Right, Kevin, pow, pow, pow. So, so there is a method to my madness, and if you do see me get triggered, then it's a learning. Every time I get triggered, it's a learning experience. It's a new way of looking at something, and it's a new concept in my eyes, because every trigger lets you know that it's another learning experience. Because you're not going, once you learn and you understand, you see the indicators. I know, right, Kevin? Then it won't happen again, because you would stop it before it gets to that point. That's the whole point of triggers. It's a learning experience. And sometimes I feel like, like, how did I let this one happen again? But it didn't really happen again, because I stopped it before it became something, out of control. But I want to let my people know, why it is I am this way. Because sometimes they think, like, is she out of control? Is she tripping? Because they don't know. I mean, they don't know what I deal with. And so I don't tell them everything I deal with. I swear I get craziest emails where I'm, having to go and forward them to the FBI or something because someone's saying something. And I don't say it to my group all the time. I don't say half the crap that happens in the background, because they don't need to hear all the bad shit. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. So I don't tell them a lot. So then when I do come unglued over something or someone, they're like, is this just like, is she freaking out? No, there's a lot of stuff that builds up to this point where I'm like, dude, he's done. She's done. It's done. Okay? But I don't want to be giving them all this bad news all the time, because there's no point in it. And I don't want to give you guys all this bad, crazy stuff, because let me tell you, you don't want to hear all the crap that I deal with, because it's not as much. But sometimes I do deal with stuff that I don't say out on Facebook. I don't say it all. But I do have the necessary agencies working with me when something is that much of a threat. And they know who I am. They have my email. They can get into my Facebook. They know who it is that contacts me. They do the ISP backgrounds and all that stuff. It's not that difficult to find out who's doing credible threats. Okay? So I don't say half the crap that I deal with to even my own people. And so sometimes it surprises them when I do come unglued over certain things, because they're like, what the fuck? And Kevin's finally learning, but believe me, Kevin's going to deal with some stuff too once this book is out, and he's going to have to, get a thick skin. And I think he's seeing that, yeah, he's going to have a thick skin. You can't control the perception out there as far as what people think, but you can control it with the information in the book, on your Facebook, on the business site, through, YouTube, there's ways of which you can control the perception if people are willing to give you the benefit of the doubt and actually read your stuff, look at you, read you. And that's how I control the perception out there, is because, hey, people say what they want, but if they really want to know who I am, they'll go to my YouTube, they'll go to my Facebook Lives, they'll go to my Facebook. Maybe they read the book. So they see the face behind the information. They see my demeanor. They see why it is I do what I do, because I will explain why I do what I do. It doesn't always happen that I can articulate at the moment of time, but there's a reasoning behind it, and then eventually I will be able to process it and then articulate it so you understand. Okay? And that's why I say on there too, if you see the conversation going south, get the hell out. Because I have people that will talk themselves into a relationship with me, and people will talk themselves out of a relationship with me. When I say, hey, just do the protocol, report on the results, I don't need any links, I don't need any messages, I don't need any of this, and then they come back with another email. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. And then they go in and say, oh yeah, make sure that Kevin reads this and he does this. And I'm like, done. Do not contact. I'm done. You know, no boundaries, nothing. And that's where I just cut it off, because and there are people like that will just keep coming back to you, even after say, hey, just chill out, Then I just say, you know what, just stop talking, refrain from commenting. I hate to say that, but sometimes I have to say that, because they'll keep going with their perception of the JJ's protocol. They'll keep trying to filter it through their crap, and it doesn't come out the way that I want the protocol to come out. And then I have to take them out of the group. Then I have to take them out of off my Facebook, because they don't get it, and I can't make them get it. And I don't want to have to keep fielding their comments and correcting the perception and controlling the narrative, because it's just exhausting. Okay. But sometimes I have a few mutual friends that Kevin and I has, and Lillian and Bridget, that will say stuff, and then they get one perception of the person and I have another perception, and then Kevin's like, what the hell? And I'm like, dude, and he's like, dude, and then and it becomes like a freaking dude thing. Then I got to explain, and then it's just like, so I'm putting it out there. There are people out there that I know will try to overstep boundaries, and I don't like it, and I will try not to let it get to the point to where I have to get triggered. But I'm putting it out there for all of you. There is nothing out there in the holistic, allopathic, alternative, Ayurvedic world that needs to be part of JJuice. There's no JILLY Juice can stand alone. I need no collaboration with anyone. And this girl's like, well, why do you gotta be an isolationist? Because you guys aren't going to endorse me. Not when you realize that I'm actually taking money away from your therapies. When you don't need that Ayurvedic stuff. When you don't need, that herbal crap. When you don't need that body electric, taser therapy. Okay, you don't need any of that stuff. So that's why they're not going to collaborate with me. Okay, but they'll definitely take me in and take my money for their therapies that I don't need. But they ain't gonna be like, oh yeah, Jillian, come on the stage, induce pain. But see, a smart therapist would know how to utilize JJuice by saying, yes, JJuice is amazing. You're gonna bring up the pain, and guess what? I'm the therapist that will help you, like, do a biohack and say, hey, we don't want to do too many of these biohacks because you have to feel pain. But if you're doing the JJuice, like I'm doing the JJuice, let's say if I was a therapist. Okay, if I was a therapist, I was doing psychotherapy on trauma patients, and I'm doing the JJuice. This is what a smart therapist would do. Yeah, I'm doing the JJuice, and this is what it is. I'm dealing with all my past, present, future traumas, and she looks amazing and is beautiful, or I'm looking amazing and is beautiful, but I'm doing this therapy, okay? But you're gonna be feeling some stuff that you're gonna need some guidance on, and they'll already do, some kind of analysis on their patient to then say, okay, so you're going to have stuff come up from your childhood, and it's going to come up through this way. And, I don't want you to be turning to too many anesthetizing things, but I can find ways for you for $80 an hour to, to help manage this. And but still do the JILLY juice, but I'll help manage some of your pain where it's not going to totally anesthetize you. You're still going to heal, but at least I can give you a place, or give you some tips, or give you something to help manage and work through these traumas. That's what a smart ass therapist would do, to collaborate with JJuice. Because yes, you can, I say, hey, you can use chemotherapy on the JJuice if you have to, okay? Some people are at the point where they're stage 4 cancer or stage 3, and they're, hey, I gotta do chemotherapy. I don't want to do the JJuice. Really, I mean, JJuice can be done, but they just want to do the chemotherapy, and I'm not going to get in the way of somebody's choice in the allopathic world. So they do the chemotherapy, and then they do the JJuice. And I have people that are doing that right now. They're still doing their chemotherapy pills, or still doing their chemotherapy, and they're doing JJuice, or they're post chemotherapy and they're doing JJuice. Okay, there are people that are doing, like, smoking the cannabis while they're doing the JJuice, because that's just what they need. Some people are taking Tylenol for their headaches when they have to go and present. Okay, fine. Just make sure it doesn't overshadow the JJuice. So a smart therapist would know how to work in JJuice to still get their money. It may not be a lot, but bring in the JJuice as part of their platform. Not as a redheaded stepchild, not as something you hide secretly that you're doing, but you're not going to introduce to your clientele, but a smart therapist do that. And no No alternative therapists out there that I can see, even the breathers, the ones that do the breathing stuff, they're not going to bring me into their fold, because their whole point is to mitigate pain, not to bring up pain. And they don't want to bring up pain themselves. Look, they're aging. They already got mineral depletion going on. They're not going to want to go through that process. And if they do, I'd be very surprised. They'll probably do it on the sly and show how beautiful they are, and then still do the breathing stuff and not even mention J juice. And I know, I'm aware of that too. The deception that you get exposed to J juice. You don't tell your people because all the stigma and the backlash, and people don't want to feel pain. But you do J juice. The therapist does J juice, but never really introduces it. And then they look younger and they look beautiful, and that's how they sell their stuff. And then over time, you know, it's like, dude, why are your clientele, you know, not looking the way you do? You can't get, you know, reversing the aging process by just breathing. You can't reverse the aging process by doing all these herbs. You can't reverse the aging process by doing all this somatic soothing and healing and stuff, whatever that they do in some therapy worlds. That's not going to happen. Okay. So, you know, the J juice does stand alone, and that's why I am the way I am, because there's too many parasites out there that are trying to infiltrate and trying to influence my people, and I'm not going to stand for it. And so I cut it off before it becomes a problem. Okay, but you're seeing my progression of what I've allowed and then what I've dealt with. And then another person that has the same characteristics, the same background, with the same excitement, oh, I found God, you know, with some kind of like body electric stuff. And then they're trying to shove it down my throat and then extort me by saying, well, if you don't adopt this, then you're not legit. And then they go personal, you know, and I'm just like, dude, I read the room correctly. My gut knew before, and you're just confirming it. Thank you so much. Keep spilling more. And I'm going to show this to my people, to show people who you are. So I did show some of the emails to my people because they have to know what I deal with, so they don't think I'm crazy. I think Kevin finally figures out that I'm not as crazy as, because I do get triggered, and I know it exhausts him, because you know, he's a sweetheart. You know, Kevin, you're a sweetheart. And you don't want to deal with drama. Women, you know, women have drama, yes, but there's a reason why. Some people have drama because there's so much going on that they can't figure it out. And men have drama too. Men are emotional, women are emotional, and it has to do with people crossing boundaries. And it's not a bad thing. Emotions are not a bad thing, but when it becomes an all the time, and you're always allowing people crossing your boundaries, and that's when, you know, you get to figure out where you got to cut the fat so you're not freaking out all the time. You know, when I had all these trolls contact me, when I had even my own people sending me screenshots of what trolls are saying. So even I get friendly fire. Okay, and you guys will get friendly fire too. You have people in your life that, you know, that say they love you, and they're right next to you, and they're just feeding you stuff to make you trigger all over the place. They're saying, guess what this guy said? Guess what that guy said? Guess what she said? Guess what he said? And I don't want to have that either, you know, because I have a bunch of stuff that I could show my people, but they don't want to see that, and they shouldn't. And so I keep it under lock and key, or I keep it close to me, because they don't need to see that crap until it's necessary. Okay, until it's necessary. And then they're like, what the fuck? So it comes out of the blue because I don't show them everything all the time. Okay, so I want to make sure you understand this, Kevin, because there are going to be people that are going to try to get to you and say that Jillian's crazy. Jillian's this. She did this to me. She did that to me. And Kevin's like, yeah, I know. You know, I deal with it too. And I know he does, because sometimes he'll suggest stuff that I'm like, I don't want to do that, or I don't want them to do that. And then I come off a bit more triggered because I'm dealing with other stuff. And he's feeling the pressure, feeling the stuff. And then he's like, oh my God, you know, maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. Jillian is off the hook. She is crazy. She is narcissistic. But I want to let you know, Kevin, people will try to get to you. And I don't want that to happen. And I got to let you know that there's a lot goes on in the background that I don't let you know, that I keep to myself, so that I'm not stressing you out with all of the bullshit. Okay, I compartmentalize it because I'm trying to protect you. Okay, and that's why I'm saying with the therapies, when people are doing therapies without having a proper device to handle it, that compartmentalization, that trauma that's compartmentalized for a reason to protect the person, gets released, and the person doesn't have the device upgraded enough to handle that release. And that's why therapies can be very detrimental on bodies that cannot handle that release. Okay, and so that's why I don't say a lot to you, Kevin, about the shit that I deal with, because maybe you're not prepared to deal with that, and you don't need to. I get that. I know, I trust you too, but I just want to make sure you understand. Okay. Just because you're working closely with me and you're writing this book with me. Okay. And so I have to play this cool and make sure that you understand. Especially because we do have mutual friends that I've blocked that you still kept on, and I'm fine with that. But there's a reason why I blocked them. And I have no idea what they say to you, and I don't care. But believe me, I know some people will try to talk in your ear about me, and then, you know, you're just one like, what the fuck? Because you screenshotted one where somebody did say something that I let go, and I get that, and that's fine. But I'm aware of the snakes that are out there, and I don't always say it, but some of them are a little more crafty than others, and sometimes they do snow my people into thinking one thing and thinking, you know, because I've put boundaries down, and it's not fun to put boundaries down. People don't like that. They want to be able to run roughshod over you and influence you and be that. And I'm gonna be like, no. So, you know, so I didn't focus so much on the therapy stuff and coming down on them, you know, really until lately, because I was trying to consider their feelings, consider their profession. And then I have these therapists that are very verbal, very vocal. If the therapist would have been not so verbal and so vocal and keep popping up in times that are inappropriate and processing my information through their perception, and they're not even doing the J juice, and they're trying to act as if they are like, you know, all these benefits, and they just started and they're doing all this exercise, which is totally off the protocol. You know, I'm going to now finally come down and just set the record straight about the whole therapy thing. And I said, just don't comment anymore about this stuff. You're filtering my J juice protocol through your therapy intentions. And that's a conflict. Okay. And so now I have to come down and say, okay, I don't collaborate, and therapy can actually be more detrimental than helpful. But no different than chemotherapy can work on some bodies and kill off other bodies. No different than vaccines can kill off a baby or protect a baby and strengthen that baby. So it's like, you know, why would anyone want to roll that dice with any therapy, no matter what it is? Vaccine therapy, immunotherapy, the same thing. Chemotherapy, psychotherapy, physical therapy. Why would anyone want to do any kind of therapy on a body that you have no idea how it's going to manifest and how detrimental it is? You don't know. And even these psychotherapists don't know exactly what they're dealing with. Oh, but they're so quick to sell a ticket. Come to my symposium. I got the answer for you. I deal with trauma patients. I deal with this. I deal with that. And then they're constantly emailing me or constantly messaging me or constantly trying to send me all these things of how they have all this information and they're so educated in this area. And I'm like, I already know. There's nothing that you can tell me that I don't know, that I can't even find out for myself. And then I put the hammer down. And so, yeah, so now I'm going to just say all therapy can be very detrimental on bodies that may not be able to handle that reinfection of past, present, and future traumas. And that's it. The J juice will never be detrimental. You bring up pain, you deal with it, and you heal, and it's in all the right contexts. And yeah, J juice has been substantiated all over the place in different contexts. It's just never been put together in the way that we've put it together. That's why J juice stands alone. That's why J juice has cornered the market. And that's why I can talk smack about therapy world, because I know exactly what they're doing. They're no different than the allopathic world, the pharmaceutical biotech. Okay? So don't let anyone fool you into thinking, what's up, Chris? Don't let anybody fool you into thinking that their therapy is so much more advanced and so much better than biotech, because it isn't. It's the same thing. Okay? And so I'm just going to set the record straight on that. The J juice can stand alone. It does not need therapy. But if people choose to bring therapies, great. And if a smart person would want to collaborate with the J juice, they would put me on their platform and work with the J juice and find a way to integrate J juice and their therapy to where it's a balance to get people from point A to point Z and help them through the healing process with their therapy. That's what a smart therapist would do. But I see a lot of parasitic therapists that won't mention JJuice, but they'll be all vocal in my group and vocal here and vocal there, but it would not come up on their actual business platform. And that right there, tells me the hypocrisy in the therapy world that are on the JJuice. And I'm just not impressed by that. So that's why I don't collaborate. But I'm giving people an opportunity to learn how to integrate JJuice to make money off of, bringing in JJuice, and where they can make money for themselves managing the healing process, because eventually that's going to happen. So I got to draw the lines. And this is a strategy, Kevin. You have to draw the lines. You have to say, we're not going to go and just give away, our free endorsements to this therapy and that therapy and this therapy and that therapy, and they're doing nothing to endorse us. That's why I didn't want to collaborate. That's why when Rob a long time ago was saying, hey, we need to collaborate with this girl and that girl and this woman, that woman, that, and I'm like, no, because they ain't going to endorse us. As soon as they see the protocol and what it's about, and they'll be all afraid of the salt and all afraid of the healing, they'll be like, screw you. Or people will just say, hey, yeah, bring your people into our stuff, but we're not going to do anything to say anything about you or endorse you in any way. Or say, hey, this is the JJuice protocol. Pain is healing. But sometimes you have to go to work. Sometimes you have to do this. So here's what I can do for you. If, and they have to push the JJuice. JJuice has to be pushed in every therapy if you're going to really collaborate with the JJuice. If not, then you're being hypocritical and taking people's money and damaging them. And that's not the JJuice world. So I've yet to find any therapist that's figured out how to manage the JJuice together with their therapy and put it out there on their platform. But no, they'll do the JJuice and reap the benefits, but they will not give that opportunity to all of their clients. They'll pick a few clients, or they'll keep it locked away in little tiny comments. Oh yeah, do JJuice here. But when it comes down to it, when they actually go to their symposium or when they go and advertise their services to people, JJuice is never anywhere in the background. And that says a lot. And that's why I draw the lines the way I draw them, because I know exactly the hypocrisy and the deception that's out there in the holistic allopathic world when it comes to JJuice. Okay? And so I'm not stupid. But people start trying to take me as stupid, but I'm not. Okay? So there's a method behind my madness. Kevin now knows the shit that I deal with. I gave them a bit of a glimpse of it. Okay? So, I will never do anything to harm my own people, ever. Very loyal to them, and they're loyal to me. If my people choose to use filters on their photos, so be it. Who cares if they use makeup? Because I have yet to see some of you who are critical of my people put your face out there and show us all the blemishes that you have on your face and your hair and your skin and your nails. So, those in glass houses should not be casting stones. We're all at different levels of healing. As long as you're on JJuice, you're doing great. No one's going to look like Cindy Crawford in her 30s 2 or 3 months out of this. Nobody. Okay? And so if you're on the JJuice and you say you're on it and you're part of my world, eventually, yes, the changes will be there. And it doesn't even matter. Time is only going to tell anyways for all of us. Even for me. I'm 45 years old and I look better at 45 than I did 3 years ago. That says a lot. And I feel different. Okay? That says a lot. So anyways, I'm going to go do my thing. But you guys have to understand kind of what I deal with and why it is I will not collaborate with anybody unless they actually bring me in and on their platform as part of their protocol. Those are the stipulations for anyone that I collaborate with. It's not going to be a one-sided where I work with them, but they won't work with us. Not going to happen. Bye.